Hello everyone. In this video, we will be sharing the experience of Mr. Aniket Adsule, who has been placed as a data engineer in Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, more popularly known as TSMC. Before we listen to Aniket, I would like to introduce him formally to our viewers. Aniket is a final year MTech student in the Department of Mechanical Engineering at IIT Bombay. His MTech specialization is manufacturing engineering. For his master's project, he is working on the development and demonstration of service-based Industry 4.0 architecture with digital twin and analytics. During his MTech, he has also worked on several machine learning and computer vision projects. Apart from academics, he has held several positions of responsibility such as Student Companion for Institute Student Companion Program, also known as ISCP, and Teaching Assistant for a few courses. He has also been working as a project research assistant for the Machine Intelligence Program at IIT Bombay since August 2019. He completed his BTech in Mechanical Engineering from Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar Marathwada University, Aurangabad in 2017. Here he secured second rank at the university in his batch of BTech Mechanical Engineering. Without further delay, I would request Aniket to share his experience of getting placed in TSMC. Thank you, Aniket. Thank you for accepting my request.
Thank you for calling me.
Yeah, thank you very much, Aniket. So, Aniket, we can begin with the company TSMC. Obviously, we know TSMC, but if you could tell us a bit more about TSMC and the profile of data engineer which you have been offered.
Okay, so currently, what is TSMC? So basically, TSMC is a company which is situated in Taiwan. So that's the first thing I would like to highlight because many of the people don't know Taiwan is a country.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so it is situated in Taiwan. It is world's leading and largest dedicated semiconductor manufacturing foundry ever since.
Yes.
Okay, and while talking about this customer, so like AMD, you know AMD, Apple, MediaTek, Nvidia, Qualcomm, some part of maybe Samsung and Intel. These are the all customers of TSMC. And I heard recently that maybe now Tesla is also talking to TSMC for their chip manufacture. So in cut short, TSMC is world's largest chip manufacturing company situated in Taiwan.
Yes. Yeah. And also the profile, the data engineer profile which you have been offered. So if you could tell us a bit about that profile as well.
Okay, so from JAF, what can I like get is basically it's as I said, it's a manufacturing company and they manufacture chips. So basically they are generating lot of data and so we call it big data. So they want to process that data in real time and actuate something on the shop floor to optimize their process and to increase their productivity. So that is what I can incur from this JAF, and my role is to design and develop the whole pipeline from the shop floor to some ML algorithms maybe and back to the shop floor, the whole optimization pipeline.
Yes, yes, yeah. So thank you. So you explained, of course, about TSMC, and you also explained the various clients of TSMC and how TSMC is a leading firm in case of chip or any or lot of hardware devices they are manufacturing on day-to-day basis, and also what you will be doing. You have also explained the role of data engineer. So yes, now we can definitely will talk about other aspects like how did you get selected for this profile and how did you prepare for all of these things. But before that, we can talk a bit about the profiles which TSMC has offered. So as I can see that TSMC has offered profiles such as chip design engineer, process design engineer, machine learning engineer, software/data engineer. So I mean, did you apply for all of these jobs? Or means how was like that? Means how did you prepare for these, or means the jobs for which you applied actually out of these jobs?
So I have applied for only two jobs, machine learning and data engineering.
Yes. Yes. Okay. And you got selected finally for data engineer profile.
Yes.
Okay. So now, a very basic question, like how means right now, or in fact, in this era, we all hear about the terms data scientist, data analyst, data engineer, then machine learning engineer. So how are these two mainly, like data engineer and machine learning, how are these two things related? Or how
So
these two engineers work in parallel, or is there any relation between these two?
So data engineer works on the pipeline of data flow basically, and machine learning is the end part. So considering a shop floor, the data will go to the machine learning algorithm. So the data flow will be managed by data engineer. Then machine learning will happen on there, maybe some prediction, and then back it can some acceleration can go to the source from where data has come. So this pipeline is made by data engineer. So they have to manipulate the data and make the data such that it can go to favorable condition to the machine learning algorithm. And they
Yeah.
have to closely work with machine learning engineer in that sense. So they have to also understand the machine learning as well in that sense.
Okay, so means we can conclude that basically the tools which data engineer will make,
Mm.
that tools will be used by machine learning engineers.
Not exactly. Machine learning engineer makes algorithm, but for that to train those algorithm, we need to generate some data, and
Okay.
those data need to be fed to the machine learning engineer. So they'll train that model and they'll create some inference model. And now I'll take that inference model, I pump in the data, and I'll get the prediction, and I'll also get that data back to the shop floor. This is what I can like I can get from the yeah.
Yes, yes. The job announcement from, yeah, of course, once you join the company, then you will get to know in the detail. And yeah, right now these are the things which we can infer from the profile.
But what I heard from my seniors over there, your job profile may also vary. So if I start working with more keenly towards machine learning, so my job will be also in between some part of machine learning and some data engineering, or purely data engineering, or purely machine learning. So that depend on the team and project requirement.
Yes, yes, yeah, of course. Yeah. So now we can talk about the means the number of selections which TSMC offered for the IIT Bombay students. So in case of data engineer, around not around, in case two students have been selected. One, of course, you are one of them, and another student is from CSC MTech, I guess.
Yes.
Yes. So, and again, in case of machine learning engineer, also they have selected student from computer science and engineering. So, can we conclude, or at least we can say, like, for these two profiles, data engineer and machine learning, they were mainly looking, for people with CS background. Is this the case?
Yes, we can say like that. So they were more tilted towards CS background people
Okay.
for
So,
machine
yes,
learning and
yes.
data engineering kind of profiles.
Okay, so then how did you prepare for this profile? Given that you come from mechanical engineering, you did your BTech in mechanical, then masters again in mechanical. So how did you prepare for these type of roles?
Yeah, so basically, this type of role comes under Industry 4 domain, and I have been working on Industry 4 domain since my start of MTech. So I have several projects in the same field, in which them I develop some digital twin or model of a machine using machine learning, and I just pump in the data from my source of machine using some IoT technology to the algorithm, and then also I have developed some feedback to back to the machine. So some like these kind of a projects I have been worked till now in IIT as well. And I have one research paper also in reinforcement learning. I think that was also a push for me uh, was getting selected in TSMC.
Yes, yes,
And to,
definitely.
to drive that, I think I have completed several courses at IIT Bombay, considering mechanicals, data mining, then GNRs like CSREs, machine learning course, then CS department's reinforcement learning course. So likewise, I have completed several bunch of courses at IIT Bombay, and I think it helped a lot in placement.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, as I can see from your resume, or at least we know that you have been working on several projects, and you, of course, you have taken quite a few courses in the area of machine learning and data mining. So definitely, those courses would have been crucial. So, yes. So now coming back to your, personal your placement experience. So we can talk about the things which happened after signing the JAF. So
Mm.
you, as you have mentioned that you signed the two JAFs of TSMC. One was software data engineer and another was machine learning engineer.
Mm.
So if you could please walk us through the steps which happened after signing the JAF.
So basically, it was a selection process. You mean to say?
Yes, yes,
So
yes.
basically, after signing a job, you have to submit resumes. So I have submitted my resume number 4, which was specifically meant for such industry 4 and machine learning profiles.
Yeah.
I submitted that. So TSMC select candidates for interview based on only on the resume. They don't conduct any kind of a test.
Oh,
So so I have to just submit my resume. They I think thoroughly goes through all the resumes, and after based on that they select certain amount of students for the interview. And I think there were around 9-10 people were there for data engineering and machine learning. I have to check exact number, but this is the rough figure which I can take.
yeah, definitely. Numbers, our upcoming students, they can also verify these numbers from the placement blog. At least IITB students, they can access the last year blog and they can get the exact number. Yes, so in your case, as you mentioned that you just signed the JAF of TSMC and then there was no test, nothing was there, just they shortlisted students for the interview on the resume.
Mm.
Yes. Okay. So now, yes. So the and do you remember the departments like the JAF was open for? Was it open for all of the departments?
So it was open for all of the departments, but only PG and PhD means MTech, MS, and PhD people can apply. They were not looking, and also DDP people can apply. They were not looking for, I think, BTech people.
Okay. Okay. So they were looking for mainly PG, like dual degree, masters, and the PhD candidate student.
Yes, yes.
Yes. And any CPI cutoff in the JAF? CPI cutoff?
Uh, no, there was no CPI cutoff.
Okay. Yes. And as you mentioned that yeah. So resume was the only criteria to select the to shortlist the students for the interview.
So as per me, I think for what I have seen in the placements, for every job you get at least 600 applications because around 1400 students are sitting for the placement. So
Yes.
for each and every job you get around 600 applications.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. So now that's why we would like to know like the way in which you shaped your resume, because since of course you have a very impressive resume and you have really worked on a lot of projects after coming to IIT Bombay, and also you have been academically very sound. Starting from your BTech, if we talk about like you secured second rank in your BTech mechanical engineering back in during your undergrad time, and also here you are having a decent CPI, of course. So now we can talk about your resume. Like in your case, what I find interesting is that normally what we do is that we put professional experience that you of course you did, and but you have categorized your projects in several very catchy keywords. For example, you have put machine learning and computer vision projects as a separate head or section. Then you have industry 4.0 automation and social responsibility project. So this I find really very unique. So, means how come this thing came into your mind that I should put my resume under the heads? And if you could then talk about your resume, like how did you shape your resume?
So the first thing, whenever company does a resume shortlisting, there are two, three which generally you should keep in mind. One is pointer. Your pointer should look very good at the top because at the top you can see a pointer. And I think when 600 application come to a draft for a job profile, so considering just giving some like stats, so consider 300 of them were of one page and 300 of them were of 2 page. So basically, the person need to read, I think, 450 pages,
Yes.
450 pages, and then he have to like remind, like he has to like recollect like what was written in first resume when he was reading a 120th resume maybe. So
Yes.
that's the biggest challenge. So we have to do something different so as to psychologically so as to click his mind. So basically, and you have to also ease his work in some sense.
Yes.
So what I found, I started categorizing my project because once I submit my resume to a company, so they'll not be looking for whole project. They'll be looking for those projects which are related to their job. So
Yes.
that was my thing. So I categorize my project such that so once he takes my resume, he can directly go to specific projects as I have specifically mentioned them under some head. So he can go there and he can read about the project. Likewise, it eases his work or her work. And also, if you could observe, I don't know, I have used one light blue color dots at the background of
Background.
my
Yes.
resume. Yeah.
Yes.
So generally you'll see white resume. So I have used that as well. So that gives some kind of a freshening effect. That's a psychological effect. And Also, it makes your resume some kind of different. So that is what I observed. And for that, I think I have spent a lot of time. I have spent, I think, 1.5 month to come to this resume.
Yes, yes, definitely.
And considering resume, also you are, what I found is you cannot explain whole project within 3 lines. It is impossible.
Yes,
So what is very important is to just define objective, because objective also tells the outcome of the project. That is what I found. And next 2 lines, because in 3 lines you have to explain the project. So first line goes to objective, and next 2 lines goes to the methodology and the technologies which you have worked on. So the person could know that okay, he has worked on this technology and he knows he knows this technology. Likewise, that is what I have planned for my resume.
yes, yes. Yeah, so as I can see that you were taking care of very minute details, like the way you have put a background so that it is soothing to the eyes of the interviewer or the recruiter. So, and also like you mentioned that you spent around 1.5 months for shaping your resume. So those things itself signify that somewhat you were really serious, and you were quite enthusiastic about shaping everything in a very good manner so that it becomes catchy and appealing.
Uh,
So definitely. So in your case, definitely you have worked projects on Miss machine learning, computational tools, as I can see from your resume. Now, Miss, so which how Miss for the upcoming mechanical engineering students, how should they shape their resume? And given that all of us are looking for these profiles these days, means people want to be a machine learning engineer, data engineer. So how should they shape their resume? Which what advice do you give to them?
so what I found was many of the students uh, they were doing some kind of a online course and they were writing those projects in their resume. The thing was that those projects were then common. You can found the same project in multiple resumes. That is
Yes,
what I observed. So as you also know, Andrew NG course was there in every other resume.
yes,
So that doesn't make you like separate from the crowd. So you are in the crowd then. So you have to focus mostly on the course project. So for that, I think you should start taking courses in the machine learning domain and start taking their course projects. And also, if you are in lab, so talk to your professor and start working on some research project.
yes.
So as you can also see, there are other than research projects. So there were some projects which I have done with my professor, completed with my professor. So that also helps. So that also you can add. And as it's a research project, and you can also find its application. And whenever you start explaining the project, you can start with the application. So that boosts your project. So the person who is reading the resume, he knows like there is some application and he is working on some applicable project, not some kind of a research project which like goes vague then. So
Yes.
that you should keep in mind. And as you can see, there are no online projects in my resume. Also, I have not mentioned any online certification as well. Only certification tab, I have mentioned only one line that I have online certification in blockchain, big data, computer vision, and deep learning.
Yes.
I didn't give any weightage to that because that's a common thing. So while writing a resume, you should always think what others are doing, what is common in their resume, and you should not repeat that thing in your resume. What generally people do, like they copy each other's resume in some sense. So you should not do that. That is what I observed. And considering as a MTech student, I only apply for technical profiles. Uh, the resume which I uploaded to TSMC was not for consultancy kind of a thing. It was for purely based on machine learning and industry 4 related profiles. So they'll not look mostly on PORs, position of responsibility. So I also reduced that thing. As you can see, I have mentioned my PORs only in one line, uh,
Yes.
and even hobbies as well. So and the another part which we missed while talking about my resume, there is one research paper mentioned in my resume which was related to my which was related to reinforcement learning.
Yes.
So so I think that also boost my that also leverage my resume in some sense. That is what I can.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, really, I find Miss the way you have shaped and the way you have mentioned, I really find it interesting and motivating. Some of the key takeaways which we can reiterate is that it means you personally feel that online courses might not put that impact, as compared to the courses at IIT courses, because in case of online courses you might be doing the same thing which others are doing, so that might not give a very good impression. And of course publication really, as I have talked to several people who are placed in Japanese firms, so in their case as well, they feel that publications really hold a very strong place, or very, it plays a very important role in your selection. So definitely, and I can see that, like you mentioned, the research projects, that you should talk to your guide and do some research projects. For example, you have done on PP conformity detection using YOLO, and this is under Professor Asim Tiwari sir. So yes, so that is also true, that you should, in case of RA students, research assistant students, they get 3 years, so they can work on these research projects, right?
Uh, Not only that, I have seen some of the students, MTech students or DD students, or maybe MTech students, because you start working on your seminar from your second semester.
Yes.
So they go to the lab, they come to our lab, and they spend at least 3 semesters in this lab. So, and before placement, they get around 2 semesters. So they can start working on these projects. And the best way is, once you admit in IIT Bombay, just explore yourself. That is what also Prem said. Just explore your interest first
Yes.
within some half semester,
Yes.
and then start going and go and start talking to professors. And as a good thing, you can start working on multiple professors as well. They are not asking you to work like as a day student for MTP, but you can work on their research project as well. That will also help. That is what I can say.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Very true. Yes, Aniket. So we discussed about your resume and the way you have customized all these things. So I have, like, this resume, the resume which I have right now of yours, is that it seems very tailor-made for a particular profile. So you signed, of course, TSMC JAF by this resume. And which other companies JAF did you sign using this resume? Do you remember that?
The thing is, as you know, IIT Bombay has two kind of resumes. One is one-page resume, and other is two-page resume.
Yes.
Uh, you can make three one-page resume and two-page resume.
Yes.
So my strategy was to make two-page resumes, one for machine learning and industry for profiles, and other was for core profiles, for core manufacturing profiles, where they'll not give some weightage to these machine learning kind of projects. So these were the two resumes which I developed. But the thing is, there were some common projects were there in both of the resumes,
Yes.
because there is nothing like you will do 30-40 projects and you can segregate them. So, but
Yes.
there were some 2-3 projects which are more core, and they were in that resume. So 90%, 95% of the time I have used the same resume in the placement, and 5% of the time I have used the core technical resume, and I never used one page resume.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
I
So you.
think one page resume will go after day 4.
Yes. Yes.
So it's a backup plan.
Yes, obviously. So this resume, this is of course two-page resume, and this is like, I can see that core technical, right?
Yes, it is machine learning, but what I found is, even core manufacturing company are giving some brownie points to those people who know some kind of a programming language and machine learning. Considering any firm, even I have given interview of Airbus, so they were giving some brownie points if you know machine learning. It's a core mechanical profile, but so that's why I ended up using 95% of the time the same resume.
So yeah, so now we have talked about your resume and the strategy which you follow it to shape your resume. So we can now proceed further. The things, the other things which we are supposed to discuss. So your MTech specialization, as I know, is manufacturing engineering. So at any point of time in your placements, did you feel or realize that your MTech specialization helped you in your job?
I guess yes. Uh, because the thing is, in manufacturing you have only two core subjects. In my MTech course, I have to complete 11 subjects, and for manufacturing I have to complete only two core subjects, and those are core manufacturing subjects like welding, casting, machining, and forming. Apart from those two subjects, all others were elective. And the thing is, you can in IIT Bombay, so you can take subjects of other department as well. So this give me a leverage to take those courses which were in interest of me, like considering computer integrated manufacturing, machine learning, reinforcement learning, some projects which are related to industry 4. So likewise, I have built my profile along my MTech. So that was ease for manufacturing guys. I think same goes with design guys as well. But I think thermal guys suffer in that because they have five core courses, and so they don't have such liberty to choose uh, the projects, the courses.
Yes, yes, yeah. Yeah, so as you mentioned that the number of core courses vary across specializations. So those who have less number of core courses, they get an opportunity to choose large number of courses from other departments or of their interest actually.
And other parties, as you have uh, heard maybe the new coin term industry 4. So as I come from a manufacturing background, so many of the manufacturing courses are now tilted towards industry 4. So they try to incorporate those technologies which are there in industry 4. So that also leverage my uh, like my bank, my thinking bank, and my learnings in that sense.
Yes, yes. So in that case, as you mentioned, like in that case, how about other specialization? Means suppose a guy from thermal, so how should they prepare for these type of roles which you have been selected for?
So I think they have to spend their whole first semester in the core subjects. But after core subjects, if they are looking for this kind of a job, so they have to choose. I think professor in first semester itself. As I said, now you have to explore within first half semester, and you can start talking to professors in second half. So there are I know some professors in thermal, so they are combining this mechanical thermal thing with machine learning, and you
Okay.
can start talking to this professor, and you can start working on such projects. So basically, people are work now looking. What I understand is some people like companies are looking for interdisciplinary people. So who have a domain knowledge of mechanical, maybe in thermal, maybe in design, maybe in manufacturing, along with the electronics and computer science. So if you have an interdisciplinary profile, they'll prefer you over other guys because you are a single pack knowing many of the things.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. It's better to start early, and once you have finished the core courses requirement, then you can reach out to professors, and then you can think about doing some projects, or at least you can explore your passion.
Yes.
Yes, yes, Aniket. So now again, very important question for master student, because in case of masters, you know that we spent around, matlab, at least formally we do spend 1 year in our MTP, that is master's project. So do you feel that your MTP helped you in your placements, your master's project?
Yes, definitely because my whole interview went on my MTP. So basically, my MTP was kind of similar to what their job profile is. That is what I that is what I found in interview as well.
Yeah.
So I was developing some industry for architecture to cater manufacturing ecosystem to achieve interoperability, considering any manufacturing facility. So they have different machine made from different manufacturers. And now there is a problem that one machine cannot talk to other machines. You have to build some services and all so as to attain interoperability. And that is what my MTP is. I think that's a major problem which many of the manufacturing industry are addressing at this point. Not only TSMC, but any other manufacturing facility, the same problem exists. So it purely remains between you and your professor how you can tackle a real life situation which exists outside the campus.
Yes, yes. Mhm. So as I can see that your MTP involves machine learning, deep learning as well. So and some type of machine to machine communications concepts as well, as you have mentioned in your resume.
Yes,
So, yes. So yeah, and so definitely in your case, your MTP has helped you in your in cracking this interview.
yes. Basically, not only this, anyone who has a project in industry 4 domain could crack this interview as well. That is what I found because it's a manufacturing company requiring data science background, and in industry 4 it's a combination of both. It's a basically pure domain knowledge with added with some data engineering and machine learning.
Yes, yes. Yeah. So yes, so now how, because you know in case of MTP people sometimes feel confused, or at least they are like they are having some doubts about it, because they are also looking for machine learning profiles and core profiles as well. So how should they choose their MTP, or how should they select their MTP topic?
Uh, so I think it's based purely based on your professor. So you have to see professor's research area. then I think in considering mechanical MTech student, so they'll never like leave core. So there will always be some mechanical background to it. And best and to attain that mechanical objective, you can use data engineering and machine learning. And I think that's the best part which companies are also looking for, because nowadays it's a good idea to have a one person who knows mechanical as well as machine learning, because he knows core domain knowledge as well. Like, he knows now, because considering CS, he knows how
Yes.
to train a machine learning model, but he don't know which variables will affect most to the model. You have to hit and trial. But in case of mechanical person, he can know what is going there in the background as well. That sense, mechanical people will be preferred over the CS guy. But that is what I can think of.
Yes. Means people should select a project which lies between these two, or at least
Hmm.
which has an amalgamation of these two areas. Yes. So yes, Aniket. So I guess we have talked a lot of things about a lot of things now. Another important aspect while placements is coding or programming, because we know that these days coding is means it is asked more or less in every company test. So in your case, did your coding skills help you, or at any point of time did you feel that my coding skills have helped you in cracking the interview? Did you feel like something like that?
Not in TSMC, because but considering other companies, yes. For shortlisting in other companies, it helped. But
Yeah.
for TSMC, it was not that required, because it is purely resume based and there is no coding test in that.
Yes, yes. So how did it, because in case of mechanical engineering, or at least for any non-CS background students, they sometimes find a bit difficult to start coding, or at least be very good in coding. So how did you prepare for coding, or how did you learn coding? In fact,
So basically, if you are admitted in IIT Bombay, so you have to do coding in some of the courses. That's a requirement. So basically, you get to know coding as you get admitted in IIT Bombay. The thing is, you have to start working on data structures and algorithms.
yes,
And for that, what I recommend is I went to Udemy. Uh, I spoke with many of my friends, but finally, what my path was, I went to like Udemy. I bought one course over there, and that course was data structures and algorithm in Python. So he has to teach data structures and algorithm first in theoretical classes, and and then he does like programming in Python. And I followed those, and then I went to HackerRank and I practiced that. So in that way, it helped me to crack many of the coding tests. Uh, tests. So if you want, I can synthesize the information of cracking any interview within 5 points. One was coding test, so you have to prepare for coding. Another was aptitude, because only coding will not help. You have to also be good at aptitude. Uh,
yes,
Third was your pointer. So your pointer plays a major role. That is what I can see in this placement. When my pointer was above 9, so that also I think helped me while cracking TSMC's resume cracking process. Because
yes,
once you get around 300, 400, sorry, 600 candidates, so first filter could be a pointer filter. So
yes,
you can directly reduce 600 students to 100 or 200 students using pointer. So pointer plays a major role. Uh, then your MT. I
yes,
think these are some ingredients on which you have to work. And finally, your resume,
yeah.
MTP, and then how you put all your projects in your resume. So I think these are the five things on which you have to work.
Yes, yeah, definitely. There's one means while applying for any placements, they can follow these points which you have mentioned, and so of course you are already telling this thing that CPI has played a very important role in your selection. So we can conclude that CPI, you should be having a very decent CPI on your resume. Yes.
Yeah.
Now coming to POR, positions of responsibility. How important PORs are for any company interview or any company selections? What is your take on this?
So the thing is, POR are like, there are two kind of companies. So not two, but let's segregate in two baskets. In one basket, you consider finance consultancy companies,
Yes.
and in other we consider coding companies, pure coding companies, data science companies, and core companies. Core means considering manufacturing design. So these are two baskets. So
Yeah.
for finance and maybe consultancy, they are requiring they require POR because your technical projects won't help there. So you need to have POR in this basket, but considering the technical basket, which was pure coding, pure core, or data science kind of a thing, so I think they don't give that importance to POR. POR should be there in your resume. POR will help you to answer your HR questions,
Yes.
but apart from that, I think a POR doesn't make any sense while selecting the candidate. So PR should be there, but it should be one liner or two liner, not more than that. So that I have worked on this, and when HR asks you a question, so you can take that PR and answer that question because in PR you have worked on such things.
Yes, yes, yeah, yeah, definitely. Because these two things like POR, CPI, these things generally haunt master student. Because after joining master, they think about whether I should go for a POR or not. I should go for a POR. So these things come into their mind. That's why I asked or I pointed this out. So yes, Aniket. So another question, however, I think it's so. How do you see your job, core or non-core, the job which you have been offered right now?
So basically, so there is another perspective. As I said, some people call it core, some people call it non-core. So mechanical people will call it non-core, but in general, it is called in core because technicality is there. So it comes under technical basket, but technical basket it comes under data science profile.
Yeah, obviously, core non-core. I think there is a very thin line between these two,
Mhm.
and sometimes it becomes very hard to segregate. Mhm.
As per the mechanical people, they don't consider finance and consultancy. So they say data science as non-core and core mechanical companies as core. So they just work with this basket and they have segregated that in core non-core. But in reality, the finance and consultancy are non-core and other companies are.
Yes, yes, yeah, yes, Aniket. Yeah, Aniket. So I guess we have covered the things which happened, before the interview round at least. Like we discussed about your resume, your MTP, everything we have discussed. So now we can switch on to the things which happened during your interview. But before that, do you think anything significant you want to tell before the interview?
Uh, I think we have covered all the points. That is what I can.
Yes, yes. Thank you.